Wonderful. We are in action. So, welcome, ladies, to our second annual Virtual Mother's Day panel. I am Marquis with Blessed Ventures. We also have Kiana here with Blessed Ventures. Um, the reason for this came about, just as you all know, we are an intentional travel community that focuses on nature, adventure, and community. And in the community piece, we realized we had a lot of mothers that we loved and adored, friends, family, things of that nature. And because both Kiana and I are not mothers yet, we wanted to know what was the best way to support our community. And we felt like there were a lot of topics of conversations we were hearing from the women that we loved and adored that we didn't learn on a regular basis. Like a lot of things that were like, why didn't we learn that in school? Or why is that not talked about enough? Or, oh my God, I didn't know that. So as women who, one day would, love to be in that position, we're like, this is something that needs to be talked about more widely. And so we wanted to create a platform in which these conversations can become a regular routine conversation and highlight what a woman goes through during her, her journey of motherhood. So we appreciate everyone who is attending as an attendee, also as a panelist. So I will give the floor to Kiana in just a second to go ahead and introduce herself, and then we will get started introducing our wonderful panelists. So thank you all for being here.
Well, hey y'all. So I am Kiana. I am a co-owner of Blessed Ventures. I am also owner of Blessed Nation, which is just a space where we are giving encouragement to all people through greeting cards. And so with that being said, my heart and soul is just to help and bridge connections. And so that's why I partner with businesses, with other businesses, just to be able to do that and show that, together we are stronger as a community. So with that being said, we are here, like Marquis said, to feed and give our mothers the information that, they probably don't know, or information that will probably help them with the process of other mothers as doulas and other professions. So let's go ahead and introduce this beautiful panel. Marquis, I'll go ahead and pass it on to you.
Beautiful. So I will go off of the top of the order that I see you all. So Samantha, I do see you first. If you would like to introduce yourself to the crowd.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Samantha. I am a mother of three little babies. Yeah, they're still little in my eyes, 6, 4, and 2. I am also a stay-at-home homeschooling mama. I am a certified birth doula. I'm a psychotherapist, and I'm also a feminine embodiment coach. So I essentially work from home, and I work with women around healing from trauma, and getting out of survival mode so that they're able to step into a place of deeper faith in Christ and feminine living. I'm really excited to be here and to connect and to support the women that are in need of just being poured into in this season of life. So excited to be here.
Thank you for being here, Samantha. Beautiful. All right, next on my screen, I have Kiara.
Hi everyone, my name is Kiara. I am one. She's turning 6 this month. She's going to first grade. I can't believe it. Time flies by extremely fast. Like people say, the days are long, but the years are short. I am an entrepreneur. I am a social media content creator, as well as a business owner. So I do have, I think there's an information sheet that's going to have things about us. I don't want to go into too much detail about it. I'm still working out the kinks. And as well as that, I'm also a student. I am studying digital media and storytelling, and managing all of that is what inspired me to be a part of this. I wanted to show that you can have a life outside of motherhood and still pursue your passion, still make time for yourself, prioritize yourself. Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Kiara. Alrighty. Next on my list is Sarah.
Hi, I am Farah. I am a mother of 4. I am also a certified full spectrum doula. I specialize in IVF, and I am an intentional embodiment yoga teacher. Um, I'm here. I'm just here to ensure that everybody has what they need. Um, and I am my sister's keeper. So what I have is yours.
Beautiful. Thank you, sis. Next, I have Melissa.
Thank you, Marquis. Hello, everyone. My name is Melissa Devojak. I'm a 28-year-old mother of 2. My oldest just turned 4 last week, and I have a baby who will be turning 9 months next week. I am a full-time digital marketer, also a content creator in my free time, and in the process of trying to launch my own digital marketing business. So lots of things happening for sure. What brought me here today? Once I became pregnant, I absolutely fell in love with everything to do with labor, childbirth, birth preparation. I had 2 epidural-free births, which really transformed me, like mind, body, and soul as a person. So I'm really excited to be here to share, not only to share with you all today, but also to learn from everyone. There's so many incredible women on this call with such great experiences and life experiences. So I just feel really honored to be sharing the space with you all today.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Melissa. And then I have next Brianna.
Hi, you guys. I am Brianna Diallo, and I like to call myself a true Jill of all trades, but I will share with you guys what I think is most relevant to this case. I am a mother of 4, and I started my journey as a mother at the age of 16. And I had a natural birth even then. I had 3 more children, and my last 2 were home births. So when it comes to the perspective on being able to do it, but especially as a woman of color, I have a true love for that. I've experienced some things in the hospital that have pushed me to be more passionate in the medical field as well. I feel like we need to fuse Western medicine and natural practices. So I'm also in school full time for nursing. And I plan to take up space in our community and show a familiar face and advocate for people in that way. And in my spare time, I like to go to the gym. I like to seek wellness. I am transitioning from being a full-time stay-at-home wife of 4 to now being a single mother of 4. And honestly, I have not felt more empowered, more healthy, and it's all due to community, God, and seeking these things that help keep me aligned as an individual, but also as a mother. So I can't wait to share with you guys. I think we have a lovely panel, and I'm so excited to hear from other women. So yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Bri. Thank you so much to all of you ladies and everything that you bring to this channel, this channel and this panel. So with that, want to go over some quick housekeeping rules before we do have Key go ahead and get started into the meat and potatoes of this. Those of you who are joining us today, if you would please share in the chat what brought you here today and what do you hope to gain out of this experience. Any other questions, comments, praises, encouragements, concerns that you have, feel free to include those in the chat. We will address those during our Q&A at the end. So if you have something specific for one of our panelists, feel free. There is a Q&A option on here. I'm going to click it and see if it comes up on your screen. You may be able to add it to that, but Google Meets can be a little weird where you have to have add-ons. So if it does not come up for you, chat is perfectly fine. If you have any tech issues or anything, feel free to also drop that in the chat, and then I can try to help you with that, off there. If you cannot hear or see anyone, let us know in the chat or raise your hand so that we can make sure that we are hearing that person. But yes, we are excited for this beautiful, educational, and safe space for our mamas to be, and people who just love and adore mamas. So go ahead and take it away, Key.
All right, let's do it. So I am just hearing all you guys' backgrounds and understanding like your mission of like wanting to reach out and touch women, especially mothers in this instance. I am curious, and the topic of today's meeting today is prepartum, right? So this is before we have this baby. I am going to take us into seeing the future first, and I want to know how would you define postpartum wellness? And how does that definition evolve over time? And the reason why I'm asking this is because I feel like if we understand what the end should look like, then helping us figure out how to get that perfect ending or what that wellness look like, because it's not perfect. The road is definitely not perfect. It's a lot of strides, a lot of things that you're going to experience that's going to make you feel like, um, it could be the end, but as we all know, it's not. So just understanding what postpartum wellness looks like for you, how would you define that? And then we're going to reel it back and see how do we get to that. So if anybody want to volunteer, what does postpartum wellness look for you?
I will start, and I'll speak from experience as well as being a doula. So from experience, I had all of my children naturally, and I was and am grateful for my support system, because I didn't have the depression or the lack of comfort and love and all those things that you really need once you have a baby. So for me as a doula, I really prep my clients on what it should look like, right? Based on the support system that they have. Because we know that everybody does not have the same support. And so if my families don't have support, I become their support. I have clients that were 3 years out and they still call me because moms, a lot of people think, oh, well, postpartum goes over in a year. Like that's it. Once the baby's one, but it can go up to 7 years. And so people still need support. And so it looks like comfort. It looks like holding space. It looks like listening. It looks like being non-judgmental. And it just looks like whatever they need. Finances. Some people have children, things go awry and they need help. And then if you have a baby and you have all these transitions, it can impact the mother that then in turn impacts the children. So really having a good support system in place, whatever that looks like, 1 or 10 in place to help you navigate.
Beautiful. I definitely I appreciate that information, especially me not having any children. Understanding that a healthy lifestyle essentially is what you're saying, like making sure that you're having these relational connections, making sure that you're having your physical connection with yourself, understanding your body. I don't know what just happened there, but yes, understanding your body, and also just us having the support of just the people around you. So I definitely appreciate that. Did anybody else want to answer that question?
I was going to add a little bit really quickly. So, one thing that I learned from going from being a first time mother at 16, right, and juggling school and being a teen mother, and then doing it again now in marriage, and now dealing with postpartum out of separation, what I needed looked so different for me. And what's crazy is when I had my baby at 16, I didn't deal with postpartum depression. I think that was maybe my most peaceful pregnancy for the most part. And it was such a smooth transition. And I just, while listening, I realized it's because I had structure, I had organization, everything was set up. I was working, yeah, but my daughter had everything. And because it was just me and baby girl, I got so much support from other people too. It was more than enough. And then now navigating into having my children within my marriage. That second one, okay, it was kind of cool. That third one, now things are a little crazy. I'm back on laundry. I'm having to worry about feeding myself in 3 more mouths, and I still got to be a wife. So I think a lot of times when you're in a marriage, a lot of people don't realize that you still need support as an individual and as a mother. And I was just struggling the most with not having structure, not having routine. So for me, wellness postpartum is having things organized, being able to say to my community, hey, I need help. I want to be able to just take a shower, being able to just sit down and eat my food by myself, being able to sit in the mirror and play in some makeup because I haven't done that in a while. So just having that space, that time, and that organization is what postpartum wellness looks like or felt like for me in my older years and as I started to add on multiple children. So as much as community is needed, I think it's needed so much because if you don't have structure, you don't have anything. And if you don't have community, structure is going to keep you in line because if you don't have a lot of help, being able to just grab and go or know that you have everything that you need in accordance is really helpful for your mental well-being as well. Yeah.
That is beautiful. That's actually very much helpful. In addition to what Farrah said, because you basically said, yeah, with this support, with this self-awareness, we also need the structure in place in order to keep it going long term. So that's definitely beautiful to hear. And with that being said, so now let's go ahead and dial it back to what it means to set that up, set ourselves up for success. What is prepartum wellness? What does that look like? How do we get that? So I'm gonna start with the one question because I'm giving y'all thousands. Let's start with the one. What does prepartum wellness look like as we begin?
Um, I guess go ahead, Melissa, and then I'll.
Okay, thank you. I feel like for me personally, prepartum wellness had a lot to do with like not only getting my physical space right, but getting my mind right and having that support from the people around me. And so what that looked like in my personal situation was like having my mom and my sisters come over and clean out the pantry for me, clean out the refrigerator for me, like get all for my second baby, like get all of my first baby's clothes out and washing them and folding them, like getting the physical space ready because you're huge at the end and you have no energy and like you really need that help to get your physical space prepared and ready when we're in like full on nesting mode. Which I see Marquis laughing over there. I feel like you know exactly what I'm talking about with this nesting party that you're doing right now, which I love to see because I feel like that is something that is often overlooked. Like you don't understand like how much your friend probably appreciates you for like helping her with that nesting party. I feel like I would probably take that over a baby shower any day. Obviously the baby showers are nice for our babies and getting showered with love and gifts and stuff, but I think we also need that for ourselves. And also just like alleviating like any mental load that you can off your partner, especially you know like with my fiance, for example, like leading up to having the baby, just like communicating to him like I would just really love if you take over dinner duties for this week or take over laundry duties for this week, like I just need that to take that mental load off of myself because I want to take some time to like sit with myself and meditate a little bit today or do some like hypnobirthing like exercises or something like that. It's so important for us to just like sit in a quiet space with ourselves and get our mind right to go through such a transformative spiritual experience. So I would say like if you are in the position where you're finding yourself wanting to support a mother that's about to give birth, I think that's a really good way to look at it. Like, how can I alleviate any mental load off of my sister? How can I actually help give her a hand and help prepare her physical space for her?
That is beautiful. Okay, so with and it's beautiful because like yeah, now they're starting to do this nesting party, right? So just like helping mothers prepare or what have you. I wonder, and I'm going to just ask this back to you, Melissa. I wonder, would that also be a one-off thing for you, or do you feel like asking them to help out maybe once a month for 3 months? I'm like because we talk about communication. You talk about communication with your spouse, and I understand that once the baby comes, it's you and your spouse taking care of the baby. Some people are fortunate to have that. Some people is single mothers, and which it's just them trying to support and take care of the baby. But I wonder when we are communicating with our community, our support system. And it varies from people because some people don't want don't want people in their space, and some people do. But I just wonder for you specifically, because you had mentioned it, if that was something that you also will want to have communicated with your community? And if so, I would just like to know that experience.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a really great point too in just saying all that, is that our experiences are so different and our needs always look so different, even pregnancy to pregnancy. And I think the most important thing you could do is, as being the pregnant person, like just voicing exactly what you need without any shame, you know. If you do need that support, I know personally for me, like I was reaching out to my sisters and my mom like weeks, like once a week leading up to my pregnancy, like the last couple months, you know, like I need help with this today, or I need help with that today, you know. And I feel like if you're on the other side of it, being there to support someone, I think I would just really encourage you to like listen, you know. And sometimes I know, and I've caught myself doing this too with friends that have been pregnant, is like you think you know what they need or like how you want to help them, you know. But sometimes it's not always how a mother wants to be supported. And like one thing that comes to mind is like, oh, they want to, as soon as a baby comes, they want to come and help you, like, let me watch the baby for a bit so you can get some stuff done. But sometimes you just don't even want people around like in your space, because you just like are trying to navigate everything yourself, like in those first couple weeks, and try to adjust to this huge life change. And then just adding people into the mix, like you're sometimes like, I just want to be by myself for a little bit, please. Like I have my hands full, but I kind of would rather just like recoup a little bit alone. And then back to your question also about the support leading in. This time around with my second pregnancy, instead of having a baby shower, I opted, well, I had like a little diaper party, but I opted for a mother's blessing, which I'm not sure if how many people on this call are familiar with the mother's blessing. But it's inspired by the Navajo people, and it's like a intentional celebration that focuses just on uplifting the mother. And we did different like practices and rituals, and one of them was called like the red thread ritual, where we all like had red thread that linked us all together. And we kind of like said words of everyone spoke words of affirmation into me, and then we would cut the string and we would wear the red bracelets. And like all the women that I had invited, they weren't allowed to like cut the red string off until I gave birth. And so that the red string was supposed to serve as a reminder to check in on the mother as she's leading up to giving birth. So that was really nice as well, because I had my girlfriends like checking in on me, like, I just saw my red thread and I thought of you, like, how are you doing? Do you need anything? So I think that was just a really beautiful practice that I had never done before. And it's just serves as a good reminder to continuously check up on them. Because to your point, it's not just like that one time, although it can be great. It's like consistent check-ins are always appreciated too.
That is so beautiful. I've never heard of a blessing ceremony, but I definitely will adopt that into my lifestyle, because that is just so beautiful. And it also allows the supporter to be able to have that reminder. You know what I mean? Because as a supporter, yeah, you know, it's out of sight, out of mind sometimes. You know, you don't see the mother all the time, so you don't think like, oh, maybe I need to check in. At least I know that's my experience, but having that little reminder will be helpful. So I thank you for that. Did anybody else want to speak on what prepartum wellness look like for them in their experience? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Kiara.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to add to Melissa's point, more so on the physical end. Usually when I attend baby showers, I feel like people forget the mother. And so being a mother and understanding what happened to me physically after I gave birth, I usually give a basket to the mother of like witch hazel pads, Tylenol, things like that for her physical well-being. So that way she's stocked up. And I feel like that often gets overlooked. And then to touch on me personally, prepartum, I focused on my mental health. I didn't have much as I would say, a support system. I kind of was alone for the majority of my pregnancy. And I did have her pretty young. I was 20, still in college. And I realized, you know, I had a lot of internal work to do. I started doing therapy, and what I learned was, you know, it's always going to rain. The storm is always going to be there. There's going to be ups and downs. Some days you're going to be enjoying your time with your baby and have a whole blast. But then the next day, I mean, you're literally like rock bottom in the depths, feeling like, you know, complete, you know, it it's an emotional roller coaster. And so you have to create a safety net for yourself, a plan. Basically, my therapist told me to create a list of coping mechanisms and what they're good for, because oftentimes we forget what we can do to get us into a more grounded state. And I kind of just go through the list and kind of pick, okay, let me try this. I could also provide, if anyone would like to message me, some of those techniques that I use for coping skills, especially because it's an emotional roller coaster. You need to find ways to ground yourself. And I would say prepartum, I was reading self-help books. I started therapy, started trying to practice coping mechanisms because they don't work right off the bat. You have to practice them and keep implementing them, because at first they do feel a little bit ridiculous doing them. But if you start that early on, it's going to become a habit. And basically create that mental safety net for yourself, because you're going to have those ups and downs. They're inevitable, emotionally, physically. And if you come up with a mental health plan, that's something that you can refer to when things do get a little hectic or when things are cloudy. Coming up with that plan. Yeah.
Yeah, that is definitely, I'm glad you spoke on the mental health piece of the prepartum, preparing for pregnancy. Preparing for motherhood while you're pregnant, because and I also believe that you can do that before you even, become pregnant, as you thinking about pregnancy. Because I always look at it like sometimes the brain, like your mental goes before the physical. So 9 times out of 10, and even in daily lives, like if you don't feel like doing something, it will make you prolong actually doing the thing. So getting that mind together and allowing yourself to like get mentally prepared for the experience that you're going through, I think is very important. Farrah, did you want to speak on that?
Yes. So when I look at prepartum, that's where I start. I
Mm,
start even before you conceive, because it's really, really important, one, to know who you are
yeah.
in this place, right? So I'm just going to say, like me, I'm not pregnant, right? We're going to say I'm not pregnant, but I'm considering being pregnant. Thinking about, what does your diet look like? What is your mental state? All of us have childhood, adolescent, and adult trauma. What does that look like? Does that include our mother, our father, our cousin, our brother, those people that are in our support system that we may need to release and have conversations about what has happened before we bring our babies earthside? Also, what does our labs look like? What is your internal core look like? Are you vitamin D deficient? Are you iron deficient? Do you take different types of medication to maintain? What does your vitamin regimen look like? All of those things are really, really important even before. Now, sometimes we're pregnant, right? But once you realize that you're pregnant, all of those things need to be taken into consideration, because it is really hard to deal with like mental health, loneliness, all of those things when you're in the trenches, because your baby is growing up where we carry all of our stress as women. We carry our trauma in our wombs. And so if you imagine you have this beautiful being in the midst of chaos, anything that you try to suppress is going to come up. And so it's harder to navigate through that when you're pregnant and you feel alone. So I would say start even before, like get your core right before you get pregnant.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So again, I've never been pregnant, right? I've recently just started taking my supplements because I have a hormone imbalance. And so as I'm taking my supplements, I'm starting to feel the clarity in my mind. I'm starting to feel the clarity in my body. And so I can just imagine you carrying a life, like you're going through all of these different hormones and the shifts of everything and not being able to at least be at the baseline. You know what I mean? And so I definitely think that's very much important. And actually, Samantha, I want to just ask you, how do you feel that, like, hormone imbalance, balancing your hormones prior to pregnancy, or if it's, you're already pregnant, like prior to giving birth, how important do you think that will be for your mental health and also just for your overall like experience?
Yeah, I think everything that the ladies said already was really great. And I think just to add to that with your question, I think one of the things that we're seeing, and there's a lot of conversation that's coming around mind-body connection and feminine embodiment or nervous system regulation, but I think that that's been an unspoken conversation for a long time. For a long time, what we knew in the clinical field was that we could just talk about fear or talk about childhood trauma. We could talk about whatever difficulties we are having. And though talking is good, there's not one that's better than the other. What we're also understanding is the importance of the body, right? So we know that when a person experiences a traumatic event, the mind goes offline, but what's still there to experience the event is the body. And so this is where we hear terminology like, oh, we're stuck in survival mode, or trauma is stored or trapped in our bodies, right? And so a lot of the work that we're seeing now that's really important, especially for people that have experienced. Can you hear me? Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were talking to me.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I just wanted to make sure. So what we're now starting to see is that, we're understanding that it's not enough to have talked about an experience, but automatically our bodies are responding to past events or even certain things that we're seeing now when we're triggered. So when we're talking, I think to what Farah, is it Farah Grace or just Farah? Sorry, Farah Grace. Okay, sorry. To what Farah Grace was saying, like start as early as you can. I tell people that it's just like marriage, right? Don't wait till you get married to start preparing for marriage. Like, no, the moment you decide in your mind that you want to be a wife, start preparing then, right? Because there's so many things that we have gone through that's impacting the women that we are. And when you step into a season, it only heightens it, right?
Yeah.
And so when it comes to hormonal imbalance, a lot of that is due to events that have happened earlier in our lives, right? Like the younger version of ourselves, we've experienced different things, whether that was childhood trauma, adolescent, whatever it may be, just the different things that we've experienced. And if we've not done the work to really heal from those things, not just talk about it, but even tuning into our body to reestablish that mind-body connection, then we're just kind of continuing to perpetuate lives where we're just very disconnected, right? And we're in survival mode. We're showing up. We're doing all the things we know to do. We're just kind of stuck on autopilot, but we don't understand why we're doing the things that we're doing. We don't understand our responses. We don't understand our thought processes. So a lot of hormonal imbalances, I'm saying all that to say a lot of hormonal imbalances are just really deeply rooted in other experiences that are just still stored and trapped in the body that we have not addressed.
Yeah.
And so when you add pregnancy on top of that, it's like, oh my God, like what's going on here, right? And so then we fear pregnancy and we're going into pregnancy very hesitant and we're not really enjoying it. There's not a flow in it, right? There's like, we're rigid in it. And it's because there are a lot of underlying things that we just really have not dealt with. So when it comes to hormonal imbalance, even when I deal with clients, I'm like, okay, well, and I'm not being funny when I say this, I think with the medical field, it's very easy to say, let me prescribe you this medication to deal with that imbalance. Let me give you this, let me give you that. No, send that girl to a therapist and let her talk through some of those issues, because sometimes we don't need medicine, right? That rash on your skin, it may not even be that you need a topical cream. You probably are just, there's a lot of energy just stored in your body that hasn't been released because I think Farah Gray said it, it's just been suppressed over the years. So again, I think when we're talking about hormonal balance, it's really using years prior to carrying a child, or as soon as you find out, like gently find your way into a place where you can begin to explore some things safely, obviously, because again, pregnancy, childbirth, it only heightens what's already there. Marriage, I say it all the time, like it doesn't solve the problem, it heightens what's already there.
Yeah, that is very powerful. And it just kind of solidifies that it does not start, like prepartum does not start when you have a baby. It starts way before. Like we have to, but it's like it would be in our benefit to think about what pregnancy looks like while we're single and just figuring it out, because it also allows us to open our minds to realizing, okay, how do I want to parent? And then that opens the door of like, okay, what do I need to be for myself in order to parent this way? And so that trigger and having the assistance of a therapist or a group of women that's just, into the same things you're into as far as like wellness, self-wellness, you know what I mean? Everybody isn't, sometimes things happen, life happens, and is no penalty to those people, to people that, just get pregnant, because guess what? It happens. Like, we are all human. And with that, it's like, okay, now that I'm here in this position, like Kiara said, let me get this self-help book. Let me read up on how I can be the best person I can be for my child. Okay, now okay, you know what? I might need a little bit more assistance. Let me get a therapist. Let me figure out what this deep wound is, because I keep getting emotional about this one thing and I don't understand why. It's triggering me. And so just having those resources and having that community, that support, that thing that we just keep going back to, that support, in order to get through that, I think is so beautiful. So I thank you for, presenting that, because I think that is very important. And with that being said, I want to know, and Bree, I kind of want to shoot it to you. As a mother of four and starting off young,
Right.
I want to ask, and and if it's too evasive, please let me know. But I want to ask, was it planned? And if it was not planned, how, with that first pregnancy, how did you utilize your support to help with your mental health?
Okay. So this is a layered question, and I'll try my best to answer it, but we gonna get into it. Um, Support definitely starts early on. Some conversations need to be held, especially within Black and Brown communities at an early age, because whether or not we want to accept it, we are going to be sexual. We're going to have questions, and or when it comes to mental health and what you're not receiving, you're going to seek it out elsewhere. So me being the troubled pastor's child that I was, my daddy was a pastor, and not having that love from him, and then having issues with my mom, I found that in a little boy. Um, my daughter that I had, Violet, is my first child. She was not my first pregnancy. I got pregnant at 14 and I had a miscarriage. And ever since that, after not being able to fully process it, after my feelings being dismissed, I experienced postpartum depression actually after going through that miscarriage. Not having the space to talk about that, to grieve that, to be protected or to feel okay, because I was just fast and doing stuff, in the eyes of everybody else. Oh, I very much so got pregnant on purpose. Whether or not I wanted to admit it at the time, I was seeking that pregnancy afterwards. So I would say yes and no. I wanted that feeling again. I didn't know deep down, but I did. So it was. But as far as being able to prepare for it, oh, absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't really prepare for it. I just knew I went through what I went through. I liked that feeling. I liked being able to be emotional with my boyfriend at the time. I liked being able to have that space, that clearance. I know a lot of times, Samantha, you were talking about, what past traumas or what things are leading to these, physical reactions from us, whether it's topical ailments and things on our skin or emotional outbursts. And sometimes, at least for me, even within my marriage, I felt like pregnancy kind of gives us, or at least for me, it gave me that safe space to be as emotional as I wanted to. If I wanted to cry because I needed a hug, I felt the safe space to do so. So I think what younger Bree was seeking was just that clearance to be her emotional self. So I wish I would have prepared more, and I wish that what preparation looked like for me was more support from my family and more of an emotional safe space. But I knew that what I wasn't getting, I was so ready to pour into a child. I was so ready to love somebody else. And yeah, so that's what teen pregnancy and how that came about for me.
So it's just so funny how the unconscious preps us to make decisions, because that's a real thing. Like, it's a lot of people, we walk around the world unknowing of our trauma, in which we then just react on how we feel, which really deep down inside there's something that is unresolved. So it's just beautiful that you mentioned that, because I mean, and that can go on forever, but it's just so important. I feel like we all have come to the we all have stated how important the mental health is to pregnancy, but really it is to life, because we make decisions based off of the underlying reasonings of everything. So making sure that we understand the purpose of each decision. You have to understand the purpose of who you are, like self. What is my view on life? How do I see different aspects of life? So I think that is, I appreciate you speaking up and allowing us to um, get a little sneak peek of your journey, because I think that you're not like, that story is very much relevant to a lot of folks. And so having that understanding of like, seek help, seek help in those moments, and allow yourself to, it's crazy that you said that pregnancy allowed you to feel like you could be as emotional as possible. And it's like, I wonder, and this can be a general question for everyone, I wonder, as women, why do we feel we can't on a regular? Like, why can't we have that outlet to just be emotional? Not, I feel like, I do feel like there's limitations, right? And the limitations, I mean, is like, don't wear your feelings on your sleeve. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be able to compose yourself, like, into a place where it's like you're not bleeding on everybody. But I don't feel that limits you being vulnerable and limits you being able to express yourself. And if that didn't sound clear, I would definitely be able to under explain that a little deeper, what I mean by that. But Bree, I definitely see that you want to speak on that, so I would love to hear your
Yeah, and
feedback.
I'm glad you brought that up, because something I wanted to add on to that is just, it's so vital that as women especially, we just have the safe space to feel. If we don't want to show up and be performative, if I want to be in a bad mood, if I want to show symptoms of me in a depressed state, I should be able to do so. If I'm in a bad mood, if I'm tired, if I don't feel like picking up, I shouldn't feel shame around it, especially as it pertains to prepartum, pregnancy, and postpartum. I think because we know that women are emotional, because we know that hormones and things are heightened, it gives us that space to flourish in that. And that's why I said, if I feel like if I had more of that space to do so when I was younger, I don't think I would have been seeking out another pregnancy. I don't think I would have been seeking out that type of validation if I just would have been comfortable in existing in a teen mom that was, experiencing postpartum depression after a miscarriage, after somebody who was, having these heavy things show up in their life. If I had that space and if I had that support while going through it. I think a lot of times when we're emotional, whether it's anger, whether it's sadness, whether it's anxiety, we are met with so much judgment and also sometimes solutions. And I'm not saying that we don't need to have a solution in mind, because absolutely, we're not going to sit in nothing for too long. That's not beneficial. However, let me sit. Let me process it. Maybe even in sitting for like a day or so, I will be able to resolve that on my own. And absolutely, I was a young mom too. So I already, one of my reasons for wanting to go into medicine, and then I'm gonna wrap it up, is because I know so many limitations and judgments that were placed on me already. Do y'all not know how hard being a mom is at any age? I don't need y'all to make it harder. I don't need y'all to place any more stigmas on me. I had to walk around that school and, think about all that judgment and think about those adults who were, thinking all these things about me. It's going to be hard for me already. We don't need to make it harder for people in those spaces, especially young moms, especially teenagers. A lot of times we are going through a lot more. So it's so important for me, for everybody, but especially younger moms or just moms in general, to have that space to exist. And it don't need to be pretty. It don't need to be polished. I just need you to exist and feel validated in that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely having the space to be able just to be you, just to be, and allow yourself to be freely is important. Farrah, did you want to add to that?
I did. I think that oftentimes, specifically like in minority communities, we are taught at a young age to be seen and not heard. And so we move in these spaces. I too, Brianna, my parents are ministers. And so I understand how you feel. So you are put on this pedestal. You're supposed to do this. You're supposed to look like this. You can't have this feeling. You can't say this. And so as we grow up, right, we take that with us. Like, okay, I can express it. And then we go into places like corporate. I worked in corporate for 23 and a half years, but it took a senior leader that did not look like me to tell me, listen, you have to be yourself, right? Take very good notes and be yourself. That's who you are. Don't allow the world to determine how you respond. And so it takes a long time to unlearn those types of things. So even when I had my children, I was really, really engaged with them. I allowed them to speak. My mom one time told me children don't have voices. They don't have opinions. And I'm like, no, they do here, because this is my house. These are my children. This is how I've raised them. I've also raised them. Like, if someone doesn't call your name correctly, you don't have to answer them. You are who you are. They need to address you who you are. And some people know my husband is a white man. And so I always taught my children, when you walk into a space, you walk into a space as an audacity of a white man, because it doesn't matter what he has or who he is. He's going to show up. And so you also have to show up for yourself. But I think that's where it actually starts. That's just what we're taught. Be quiet, sit down, be quiet, you're making too much noise. Oh, you're okay. You fell and hurt yourself. Oh, let me kiss. It's okay. No, you should be allowed to have that emotion, and it's okay to cry, and it's okay to be angry, and it's okay to take space.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Melissa, I think I see your hand first.
I think that Fair Grace brought up a really great point when she mentioned, especially in minority communities, how we're kind of trained to be seen and not heard. And it's something that I can speak to from a Latino perspective. I'm first generation. My mother came here from Mexico, and I think especially Mexican mothers are sort of trained to be managers of the household, and it kind of stops at that. And there's a lot of like untapped emotion because they're so like, they have this like solace about them, like they have this like stoic presence in a way, because they're very operative. They're meant to make sure that the household is running on a day-to-day basis. And growing up, my father was born here. He's Mexican, but he was born here. He's first generation himself. And like growing up, like all of my memories, like playing outside and having fun was like with my dad. Like my dad was the one I could be emotional with. Like thinking back to my childhood, I can't think of one time that like I sat there and played with my mom, because like play was not something encouraged, I guess, with her being a mom. Like her job was to work and cook and clean. And I think it just goes back to the point that everyone was saying about like this untapped emotion, and that we should be creating intentional spaces to express these emotions and be encouraged to express these emotions. So as a supporter of someone that's currently pregnant, I would just encourage that, like when you get together with like a girlfriend that's pregnant, it's really easy to keep things surface level and be like, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. Like, yeah, things are going good. Like, it's tough, but I'm hanging in there, yada, yada. But I think it's always good to be like, no, like, how are you really doing? Like, I'm here for you. Like, just know that even if right now is not the space or time to talk about it, like maybe, let's grab coffee or come over to my house, like in a few days, like, let's just really sit down and talk and like open up, because I know time and setting is really important to be able to feel comfortable enough to be emotionally vulnerable. And maybe like out at dinner is not the time or place to do that, but just like giving them that reassurance, like I'm here to be a safe space, and I want to create that intentional time and place for you to open up, I think is really great. Yeah. Thank you, Bree. Thank you for saying that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Kiara?
I think everyone made some great points, and I wanted to kind of transition and say that with all of that, I think there's a lot of power in social media when you're a marginalized group of people. I know that social media gets a bad rap. It's known as like a one way to get to comparison, but I think we have control over our social media feed. And I think you need to follow people who look like you, who have similar interests, who come from similar backgrounds, because it can be extremely validating to see people similar to you loving themselves, taking care of themselves, and enjoying life. Or there's also creators who are vulnerable and lead by example and show the ups and downs. It's also validating to see someone with similar struggles make it out on the other end and give that hope. Like, if they can do it, I can do it. And so, with that vulnerability, I think the power of social media and something that I like to do is show that, to motivate other people to be like, you know what, I should use my support system. You know, I can use these coping mechanisms. You know, I went through that struggle too. It helps people feel seen, especially when you're a marginalized group. You need to follow people who look like you, come from similar backgrounds, see how they're doing it, or just to feel seen, validated, just in general.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the things that you ingest helps you also be able to, you know, put out good energy and also just keep you motivated and keep you going. So definitely making sure that your algorithm is showing things of positive nature. And also educational. It's so much information on social media that would allow you to prepare. And you know, people are very much authentic and very much giving you great advice. Censor some of it because everything is not for everybody, but there's so much information out there that you have at your fingertips. So I definitely think that utilizing social media in that way is helpful. And speaking of transitions, I kind of want to transition to Samantha. You have talked about this RV lifestyle, right? And I'm just thinking, if I want to live that lifestyle, or I have been living that lifestyle, and you know, you're in close quarters, and if you already have a family established, adding a new family member to the bunch, and not saying that you're pregnant, but I'm just saying, I'm thinking as this woman of like, you know, I think we could probably do this RV life still and me being pregnant. I guess if you could see in your current lifestyle any practical tricks or practical things that you can do to still be able to have that mental strength, like awareness, structure around your living quarters, to making sure that you still have this very much you know, progressive and great prepartum lifestyle to help you prepare for birth. So I'm just curious, have you thought about it, or if you have experienced what that can look like?
Yeah, so I have not had the experience of
Okay.
being pregnant on the RV. I would love to. At one point, I was like joining Facebook groups for like, there's actual groups called like pregnancy and RV life. So like women actually giving birth on the RV. I love it. Like, I'm obsessed with it. But so I haven't experienced it, but I think maybe it was Brianna that was speaking to like organization. So I think a big part too is I always say that your environment is a reflection of your internal state. So if you have a lot of clutter, dysfunction, disorganization around you, then that's going to throw off your internal balance. And so I think what I would do if I were setting myself up for something like that, or just in general, I think declutter the space, get rid of stuff, organize things. Everything should have a place, especially for me. I have 3 children. And so when you create a system to where everything has a place, then it takes a lot of the stress off of you as mom, because everybody can chip in now. I'm not doing everything by myself. So everybody is going to chip in. And even my husband, he'll be like, oh, thank you for having these boxes labeled, because I don't have to figure it out. He just knows where to put things, right? So it creates more of a cohesive balance to where everybody can chip in. But I would also say, like, one of the things I love about RVing is the opportunity to be in nature more. And this is like my personal like thought process and like revelation. I don't know if there's science behind it, but I always say like I think the reason that we find so much just peace and like we're able to reset in nature is because it's the place that we were created from, right? So like if you think about like in the Garden of Eden, like when God created Adam was from the dust of the earth. And so I think that why we find so much peace and just tranquility in nature is because we're returning to the very place that we were created. That's just like my own little thought process. And so I think what I love about RV life is it forces you to get out more because I mean we're all inside in the space for all of us. Y'all go outside. Like, and again, like even for my children, I think that's something we've lost. Like when I was younger, we lived in the Bronx. So we had the courtyard and my nana, my grandma, we were outside all day, every day until it was dark outside. We were outside. And nowadays I think that's something that we've lost. And so again, I think just with RV life, it forces you to put down the technology. It forces you to just really connect and get back to the very place that you were created from, that I think creates that internal balance and alignment that a lot of us have lost, right? So those are some of the things I would do, and even some of the things I just do now to maintain internal alignment and just peace and rest. And again, because we're in a small space, so I can't say y'all go to your room. Their room is right there. I can see it. I still see them. They still see me. There is no room. You know what I'm saying? Just for me and my husband to have a little grown time, it's just a little curtain. That's it on the RV. So you have to get very creative, right? But I say all that to say that, yeah, I think those are just the things that I've really appreciated about this life, and even things I would just consider outside of RV life.
That is you. First off, you better preach, okay? Because what the return to where you came from, baby, T. And you know what? You just brought up a whole bunch of things that I definitely am looking for this content because I didn't even think about grown time.
Listen, it's a
Okay,
curtain. It's a curtain.
baby.
You gotta use
Let me be
music.
quiet.
You
But
got a sound
anyway,
machine. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. There's a lot of planning. Like, no, y'all can't sleep with us tonight. You gotta sleep in your bed. We gotta have a sound machine on, and we need little tunes, and you gotta put a curtain. It's a lot, you know. But and I mean, you gotta be careful because things get excited. The RV just be bumped. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna go there, but you get what I'm trying to say. So you gotta be creative. You gotta be creative if you're considering this type of life. It ain't for the weak. It ain't for the weak. It's not.
hilarious. Yeah, we're gonna be looking for that content for sure. Uh, and so, okay, so yeah, I definitely appreciate that. So, like, I guess, and this can be an open question for anyone. Has anyone else just found solace while pregnant being outside in nature? Did we walk a lot? Did we sit on the porch and just chill out? Like, what did we do in nature if we did anything while pregnant to, help with preparing for birth? Let's go. Breathe in, Farrah.
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted, boo.
I just love being outside. I didn't care if I was on my mom's porch in the backyard, if I was standing in my little patio when I was in Chicago. But also I don't know if there's like a science behind this. Maybe Farrah or Samantha, you would know. But like when I had my home births, I always active labor, like my heavy contractions, I needed to be in water. So whether it was water on my back, that always provided me the most relief. But what I found was when it was time to push, when I needed to really lock in and ground myself, I needed to be on the ground. So I can't be on the dirt now. I was in the house, but I always was on the floor. So I don't know if that's relevant or if, that fits into this question, but it did make me think of that because I don't know, something about just being able to be firm and plant myself in ground during those home births. So I went from the water and then I had to push on the floor. Yeah.
So yeah, being outside is really, really freeing. I take all my clients outside, whether they want to go outside or not. We go outside because when you're outside, you breathe in fresh air. It gives you like a renewed sense. It gives you new breath and new life. And so it's really important to connect, like you said, to the ground. When we're walking on the ground, when we're touching the ground, it's actually like a shock proof. It takes all of your negative energy. You can lay right now and lay down on your floor, put your hands sort of still, and you will feel it release from your body because it gives you a moment to be still and to be by yourself. So being in the water is relaxing, right? You're in the water, it relaxes our muscles. We're being held by the water. Oftentimes we're not being held. And so when you get inside that water, it just feels like a warm hug and you can just relax, your body surrenders. And then when it's time to push, you need to release some of that, what they call that, the roar, you need to release it. And so the energy from the earth kind of takes that for you. So yes.
That is beautiful. It's just funny because growing up, and I'm just relating all this because again, I have not been pregnant. Um, but well, I have, but I don't have any children. But it's just like I used to sleep on the ground all the time. Like I used to sleep on the ground all the time, and people would just be like, "Why you just don't want to get in the bed?" But it's just so funny that you guys are bringing this up because it's like, no, I really found comfort just being grounded. And so yeah, I definitely appreciate that. Melissa, you have something to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to echo what everyone is saying with how beneficial being out in nature is, especially during pregnancy. I'm a Taurus. I have a lot of earth signs in me, so I always have felt very deeply connected to the earth, to the ground. I was lucky enough to be pregnant during the summertime. Has its pros and cons, but pros was that I was able to be outside all the time. I would just go out there and just lay on the ground. Um, and I would just find other ways to connect with nature, to connect with earth, especially with like learning about herbalism during my pregnancy, connecting with different herbs, different teas that really helped me throughout my pregnancy. During over the last couple of years, I have been really called to work with different plant medicines, which I know can be a little bit of a taboo topic, but obviously I feel like we're in a safe space here to talk about that. But over the last couple of years, I've discovered I've been on this journey with microdosing psilocybin mushrooms, and that has been like so transformative for me, like on a mental, spiritual level, but also during my pregnancy, which it was like, I know it could be very controversial, but I sought out like many different resources, and obviously there's not a ton of research around it, but more and more is coming out. And a lot of independent studies have been done with mothers who microdose. I actually joined a group called like moms on mushrooms, or moms who microdose, or something like that, where they do share a lot of resources around the benefits of it, just going back to the mental health, like how good it is for our mental health. And like you're consuming such micro doses that it's like you're not feeling anything. It's supposed to function on a sub-perceptual level, so you're not actually experiencing anything, like hallucinations or anything like that. It's like very, very subliminal. And it's like something that you don't even notice like in the moment, but over time you start seeing how your neural pathways are being changed, because that's kind of the benefits of psilocybin mushrooms. For those of you that don't know, it's meant to help like rewire your neural pathways, and it really helped me with like releasing a lot of self-limiting beliefs and like these narratives that I had in my head that I didn't realize were really holding me back from a lot of things. And when it came to birth, that was one thing that did really help me too, was reminding myself of my own power and my own strength, and quieting that voice in my head that's instilling fear in you around birth. I know a lot of us can probably relate to that fear, especially like in Western culture and society. Like there's so much fear mongering around pregnancy, which can create obviously an unsafe environment for you as you're leading into giving birth and going through this transformative experience. So connecting with plant medicines, with herbs, that was like just another way that I grounded myself and connected myself to nature. So just wanted to bring that up as well.
No, we definitely appreciate that because I definitely believe that we have to take other well, we don't have to, but it is nice to have different things where it can aid into this process. And there's a lot of tools and things, and we're going to dive into those tools and practical things that we can use to help us prepare. But I definitely believe that teas and I'm now learning about this shrooms thing, but things of that nature could also help and aid in us into pregnancy. And Farah, did you have something to add to that?
Yes. First, I want to say congratulations, Melissa, for doing what you need to do for yourself. I service a lot of clients who are cannabis moms and or they microdose. And so when I first got into this work, to your point, it was very taboo, like, oh my gosh. But then I went to Mexico on a retreat and we went into this cave and we spoke to a medicine doctor and they talked about how they treat their pregnant moms. And it was like to your point, like really understanding what it is, because culturally in the United States, in the Western world, everything is wrong. Everything is wrong. You can't do this, you can't do that. But before there was OB doctors, before there was anything, people were using plant medicines. That's what they used to help with pain. That's what they help their children. All of these things. And so it is really, really, it's healing, especially if you have a lot of trauma. It is healing when you're pregnant. The only thing is in the United States is that you have to have a team that supports you for that pathway, but that's beautiful. And so a lot of my moms do give home births just because in the hospitals they test and all these things, and it's a big deal, and it considers being child abuse. But really they're not worried about how the mom feels in her mental state. So I'm proud of you for even speaking about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely believe that this is definitely a taboo topic, and there's going to be a lot of opinions about it. I always say what works for you, and as long as we're not harming the baby, as long as we're not harming any parties involved, as long as everybody is, copacetic, what works for you, so yeah, I definitely appreciate you speaking up about that, and allowing us to dig into what that looks like, because now I'm sure it's going to be plenty of research being done. So thank you for mentioning that. And speaking on that, because we're about to transition into some practical tips and tricks, right? And I kind of want to go back to you, Melissa. So I know that you know about this, and please excuse me if I mispronounce this. La Quirenta, the 40-day postpartum tradition.
Yes.
So I'm curious. I want to know a little bit about that, but I also want to know about 3 practical tips and tricks that you have gained from that experience.
Yes, thank you. So yeah, La Cuarentena is this like a sacred 40-day period postpartum that we do in Latino, specifically Mexican culture, but this same like 40-day period can also be seen like in like ancient Chinese medicine as well. It's like this period of Cuarentena basically translates into quarantine. So it's like a 40-day quarantine after you give birth. And um, there's a lot of beliefs around what you should do those 40 days after you give birth. It's so essential for your healing and for closing the wound back up inside of you. So a lot of the things that we're told in our Mexican culture is to cover up completely, to not let any cold air into your body, because it could hurt your bones, or it can help. It will like slow down the process of like healing up your wound. So even if it's like really hot outside, like I gave birth in the summertime, but still, like as soon as I got out of the shower, like my mom would make me put socks on or make me put a sweater on, or like cover your head. If you're gonna go outside, you have to cover your head, cover your ears. Like you're not supposed to let any air into you. Also drinking like a lot of warm broths and liquids those first few weeks. So like a lot of like caldo de pollo, which is like chicken noodle soup with like vegetables in it, like very nutrient dense broths and soups and things like that. Also, to help with our milk, we would drink this drink called atole, which is, it comes from like basically a kind of wheat, I think, and it's like a really like a oat sort of. So it's like a really thick drink that you have, because like again, going back to warm liquids, like it's supposed to warm up your inside. I think that's really the whole point of la cuarentena, is to make sure you're keeping your insides warm. But that drink is supposed to like help with your milk production. um and obviously most importantly is like just laying and resting. I know a lot of people say that like the first 5 days you should be in bed, the second 5 days like around your bed, and then the 5 days after that like just around your house. So that's something that I really did try to practice this time around, because my first time around, like you hear it, I was younger when I gave birth, and I was so tired of being pregnant that as soon as I'm like, I want to get back to myself, especially because my first one was unplanned. I'm like, I want to get back to myself. I want to get back to doing the things I was doing. And I really regretted rushing through such a sacred time, because that is a time of just complete rest, restoration. And like, how many periods in time in your life do you get 40 days to yourself? And to have like, no, there's no excuses for it, like you get to rest and relax without any judgment and do anything. So the second time around I really took advantage of that, and I did think it really did help in the long run, because I took that time, that space to just quarantine my
You're cutting
like the
out,
first
I
month from
believe.
my um
I didn't get no.
Okay, I think she cut out. But yeah, she cut out, but she'll come back. And she
She's back.
oh,
I'm back. What point did I cut out?
just you were wrapping it up, saying
I was
that. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
I was wrapping it up. Basically, the other cultures kind of do something similar. I felt like it really helped me, but that's La Cuarentena, that's what we call it in Mexican culture.
Yes. Well, and I definitely appreciate that, because I didn't know that. It's funny, I definitely heard about covering yourself up, and I know you, like you said, I think even, and don't quote me, but I also believe the Hebrew community, they cover themselves up. I think after as well. But to say that, I've definitely heard of that tradition. And so it's just beautiful to see how it also encompasses in other areas, of just like keeping yourself warm and making sure that, you are in this place of healing. So that's beautiful to know. And I'm going to look more into that. Farah, did you have something to mention?
Yes, so the 40 days after is so important, to Melissa's point. Um, and in that 40 days, not only do we take care of the mother, because I also talk to my dads about how they should engage their spouses, because not all the time are the mothers able to stay with their parents and get that nurturing. So I always tell my dads the first 40 days, I give all of my clients, this book is called 40 Days Postpartum. You can get it on Amazon. They all get it, and it has recipes on what type of food they should eat, what type of exercise, all of those different things, because to her point, it gives you time to just be. And then you feel nurtured. But you should also be doing that on your cycles. You should be staying warm and cozy and not feeling bad if you just need to lay in bed. Like, that is part of it, right? And so if you can start to sit in that right now, when it comes time to for you to be in your 40 days, you won't feel the mom guilt or guilty of just resting.
Absolutely. Definitely big part on the cycles, baby. Just go ahead and disappear. Disappear. Okay. Uh, did anybody else have any practical? Oh, Samantha, I see your hand. Go ahead. I don't know what you're gonna add, but go ahead and add.
It kind of to both to what Fair Grace just said as far as like cycle syncing. So I love cycle syncing. I'm all about cycle syncing. And I think it's so important for women that are really trying to reconnect with their bodies. And so what I like to do with clients is we kind of treat the trimesters as different phases of the cycle. So obviously they don't have a period at that time, but we kind of mimic it in a sense of like, okay, first trimester is like you're on your period, girl. You don't need to be doing nothing. Just rest. Do what you need to do. Take care of yourself. Tend to yourself. Because I think it's the same thing with your period, right? And there's no guilt around that. There shouldn't be any guilt. We don't want any guilt or shame around just resting and doing nothing. Like it's okay. And I think, this is a big part too when it comes to childbearing in general, it's like unlearning and relearning and really removing the fear, removing a Western way of looking at being with child and understanding that even resting is productive, right? And when we're talking about feminine embodiment and we're talking about cycle syncing, that being productive doesn't just mean me sitting at the computer and working on my business, right? Me journaling outside is being productive. Me going for a walk is being productive because that's when I have the most mental clarity. And that's when I'm getting the biggest business ideas of all times, right? It's when I'm creating that space. So I think even just going back to like the cycle syncing and how we kind of use that to guide even like the trimesters, right? So second trimester, you have all of the energy in the world. So that's like your follicular phase. When you're stepping out and you have more energy, you want to do things. And it even goes into like your ovulatory phase because you're more social at that time. So getting done as much as you can during that time, because then when you go into that last trimester, you don't want to do anything. You're slowing down. So it's like your luteal phase, right? The time right before your period. So that's kind of like a method that I use to support my clients as well. And so I guess that can also be like a practical tool, in addition, is that look at the phases of your cycle and kind of mimic it when it comes to the different trimesters, and just being able to support yourself even during childbearing.
Yeah, your clients are so lucky because you just did something right there. Okay. Because thinking about it in that sense, it allows you to literally put the projects that needs to be placed in get organized, your structure. You know what I mean? Like now we know, okay, nesting is towards the end. The reason why it's towards the end is because you need to be in the house. Like we need to be resting up and getting ourselves prepared for this baby. So yeah, that was just you just did a thing right there. And I am definitely thankful for that. And I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and keep it because as we wrap up, I do want to get some from everyone. So you just gave us one practical tool. Do you have maybe another to provide the people for prepartum?
I think if I could add anything else, it would really just be to tend to yourself as much as possible. Again, I think when it comes to preparing, for labor, delivery, postpartum, all the things, it's a lot of doing. And again, if we want to circle back to feminine embodiment, I think that even during the time of like preparing or during the time of pregnancy, getting or trying to really get into a place of flowing rather than force, right? Being rather than doing. And I think it kind of just all works together when we just look at womanhood in general. But I think if we could spend more time on just being with ourselves and reconnecting with ourselves and listening to ourselves, listening to our bodies, spending more time in prayer, meditation, spending more time in nature, spending more time just being around your family, not cooking and doing all the things, but can we just sit, especially for those of us that have babies already, can we just sit there and just watch them play?
Yeah.
Right? Like that's productive. And we don't see those things as productive because of the way that society has programmed our mind to look at productivity and to look at success. But I don't know. I think just womanhood in general, and especially after giving birth with my daughter, there was something about a girl that just unlocked a lot for me. And even like the purification process that Melissa was talking about. So we keep the Hebrew culture and customs. And so for us, it's about like 33 to like 66 days, depending on if you have a boy or girl. But after my daughter was 60 days plus that we abstained from intimacy, but even just my husband and I were able to connect on a deeper level because the intimacy wasn't well, it was intimacy, but another form of intimacy, and just I think he started a journal, and we just started journaling back and forth and just talking about like the things that sometimes you don't have time to talk about when you have 3 children, right? And sometimes you're on 100, so you're trying to talk, I'm trying to talk, you're trying to talk, and all I'm thinking about is my response. So one thing we used to do when we were recording was that we would write letters, and that was something we introduced back after having my daughter. So even just that purification time, it looks a little different from Melissa's, but just the concept of the principle of it is just that time of really just sitting with yourself and being present and really nurturing yourself, finding other ways to be intimate, outside of the normal intimacy of what we deem to be intimate. But I said a lot, but hopefully like all of that made sense. I think just if we can, reprogram our brains to do more of being and flowing rather than forcing and doing during that time, I think that really sets up our postpartum for success.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. And I mean, you did say a lot, but it was all valuable. Even that, just that portion of like you removing sex from the equation and allowing yourselves to be intimate with conversation. I also feel like that can aid into the support, because the more you guys are, intimately talking, the more he can see the ways that he can support you in the the unrecognized ways. I'm sorry, the word slipped me as I said it, but yes. So absolutely, I think that's very beautiful. Let's go ahead, and I see Kiara. Do you have some practical? Give us 2 practical tricks or tools that we can utilize prepartum.
I would say definitely try to connect with your inner child. Um, it would be, and I believe the strongest way to do that is through creativity. When we're children, that's one of the easiest ways to express ourselves and connect with others. And then when we get older, life happens. Our day-to-day life takes priority, and it's harder to pour into our creativity. And that connection to ourselves slips further and further away. And so I think something that you can try is to just explore different creative passions, get into knitting, coloring, different things that will keep you occupied. Especially, it can be very, very relaxing. I find coloring very meditative. I started even getting into trying to learn how to DJ. Um, little things like things like that keep you engaged, kind of take your mind off of it. And it's even 2 birds in 1 stone if you pick up something like that you can engage your child with, that makes it easy. It's something that you enjoy, and it bridges that gap to spend time with your child as well. It's not like you're kind of having to play. What I do a lot is turn my creative passions or things I want to do into a game, or try to engage my child in that play. And so I would say prepartum, try to connect with some creative passions, set yourself up to have some self-care things on the side, to kind of get your mind off of the day-to-day and easily bridge that gap between you and playing with your child.
That is so beautiful, and that is so, I think that's helpful. And that's something that people are going to take back. The comments are already coming in. That is a thing to do for sure. So thank you for that tip. Let's go ahead and go down to Brianna.
Hey, 2 things. I think the first practical tip I would have to give is, whether it's a virtual group of women who are mothers or who are in similar situations, similar walks of life, find them people and listen to their stories. Establish some type of reports that you can talk to them, because just understanding that it's easier said than done. It's going to be different when you have that child or when you add on an additional child, but when you're actually going through it, you need constant reassurance, constant validation. You need to know that you are not alone in any feeling, even if it's just a day where you feel like you are losing it. Being able to talk to somebody who relates to you is really going to keep you here. Sometimes it can be that serious. So that would be my first practical tip: is find your community, find your support group, and listen to those stories, and be open to sharing your own stories. And don't take that for granted. So I guess communication and community. And then my second one would be self-care. Self-care, don't feel bad for doing for yourself. I'm a big person on, if I feel better, or if I look better, I feel better. If I look better and feel better, I do better. Can't nobody make me feel bad. I'm real set to when my kids know when I'm sitting in front of this mirror, I'm in front of my vanity, y'all. When I'm sitting on this vanity, who are y'all? Y'all not my kids right now. Break your leg a later time, but no. So you need to have your staples, your things that make you feel you, because it's going to be so easy for you to lose yourself during motherhood, whether it's prepartum, post, and all the things. So what makes you feel like you? For me, it's self-care. But I will always preach that to mothers, because you don't have to let yourself go when you become a mom. You deserve to feel every bit of beautiful. So for me, I like painting makeup, but maybe it's you just want to rub your lotion on at nighttime like Kiana do. You want to, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you want to make sure you light some candles and you got your aromatherapy going on. So don't lose sight of those things, what your self-care looks like. Maybe it's taking yourself out to eat. Make sure that you are real firm on doing that at least once a week. And if not, a couple times out the month. And if you need to set that up with somebody, go ahead and start setting that up. So get your community, talk to them, feel validated, but also validate yourself and your activities and what makes you you.
And I love that. I definitely believe that you need to take care of yourself, and you also need to make sure that you are connecting with the people that help take care of you. So, period on that. And also, she mentioned the moisturization.
Yes, ma'am.
Baby, stay moisturized. Like, start now. Like, start right now, because maybe I know it comes with stretch marks and stuff. But if you stay moisturized, stay hydrated, it helps to eliminate a little bit of that. So for sure. Samantha.
Just real quick to what Brianna said, just adding, it's something I saw on social media, and I think people were doing it. So like moms were working together, like if you don't have the money to pay for like a babysitter, because not all of us do, or not all of us, like we don't have family and friends near us. We literally do it all by ourselves. But I saw something where some of the moms, say it was like a group of like 3 or 4 of them, they would work together where on one day I would take all the babies, or me and like another mom would take all the babies, so one mom could have a day out by herself. And then maybe next week Kiana is Kiana and Farrah Grace are taking the baby, so it's kind of like 2 moms come together to babysit everybody. So it's like 2 tackling all the littles at the same time, but one mom gets to go out. So just throwing that out there to go with, I think it was what Brianna has said, just the idea, like if you're like, oh, well, I don't have family, or I can't have that self-care day, I realize like sometimes you do just have to be creative about it, and you do sometimes just have to figure it out. Not all of us have the community, not all of us have the tribe here right now, but what are some things that you can do to work with other people to still get your time, because it's important, right? And I think sometimes it's easy to just kind of say like, oh, I don't have money for a babysitter, I don't have my tribe, so I can't do it. And it's like, oh no, baby, let's figure it out. Let's find a way to make it happen. So if you have other moms near you, maybe try to work something out like that. That's something I saw on social media, and I think that could work as well.
Absolutely, definitely coming together. Like Brianna said earlier, it takes a village to raise a child. So the village coming together to bridge those gaps are important. Farrah, I need 2 practical tools that you can provide to people.
Practical tools. So I would agree with both Brianna and Samantha. I actually created my own Mommy and Me community. So when my clients move from being with me, they have a core group. So every time I get a new mom, I'm like, hey, I have this mom. She's going to move into our group. But breath work and meditation is really important as well, and allowing space just to be, because breath is life, right? Breath is life. And so when you're feeling overwhelmed or by yourself, and to Samantha's point, you may not have anyone around, but you can sit still. And I know a lot of people think of meditation like, I can't think about anything, I just have to sit quietly. I mean, it is sitting quietly, but just to be with yourself is important, and use your breath. Because when you're anxious or upset, if you just sit, if you remember, I know I do, remember my mom used to be like, just take a breath, just sit still, take a breath. And when you take a breath, it actually does help relax your nervous system at your core. So those would be my tips.
Yeah, you just fed me with that. Yeah, definitely with the breath and being able to just meditate. That is biblical. And so that's just going to help you with life, period. But I can imagine how it helps with pregnancy. Yes, Melissa.
I really just want to echo what Vera was saying because I think breath work and meditation was one of the things that really helped me through my pregnancy journey, along with just moving my body. I love going to the gym, but even when I was pregnant, just going out for a walk really helped me so much mentally. And along with the meditation, hypnobirthing was something that really helped me, which is basically just guided meditation specifically for birth preparation. um just really powerful mantras of reminding you of your strength, and our tapping into like our innate inner wisdom as women, reminding ourselves that we're built to birth, to this is what our bodies were created for, and just reminding ourselves that we are capable of doing this really difficult thing. That was something that I would do really often throughout my pregnancy. I would fall asleep listening to them to try to like really deeply root it into my subconscious. And over months, I think it really did help. Throughout my most recent birth, that's all I was playing in the background was these hypnobirthing meditations, and I felt like that really helped me when I was in the thick of it, just hearing those really powerful mantras. So that's one practical tip that I wanted to share that really did something for me.
Absolutely, we appreciate that. And as we wrap up, Kiara, we can go ahead and answer or let you have your input. You're on mute.
I just wanted to add one more tip really quickly. I'm not sure if it's conventional, but one thing that I did while I was pregnant was I played music near my belly that was like Frank Ocean, Alicia Keys, a lot of soothing R&B music. And postpartum, I associated a lot of the times when we do repetitive things, it creates like a neural pathway that we associate those things. So when I listened to that music, it was while I was relaxing, and so it would help me relax postpartum. And then my daughter, she was a pretty fussy baby at first, but when I would play this music, since I would play it in my belly, she would calm down, and she associated that. And so that was something that I learned, or I didn't plan that. But just playing that music, when we figured that out, she would go right to sleep, and we're like, hey, we figured out the trick. So yeah, and then I did some research, and I found that like when you repeat sounds like that, it's kind of a, what is it, Pavlov, or there's like some theory or whatever, when you repeat, it creates that association. So that kind of helped postpartum to calm down my baby and calm down myself.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I definitely have seen so many videos of the people having headphones on their belly and stuff like that. I just thought it was just like, introducing them to the things that they like, but it's good to see that that also provides some type of comfort for the baby as well. So thank you for that information. Well, we are wrapping it up. We're at the end. We want to thank all the panelists for coming today. But before we end, we have room for 2 Q&A questions. So if anybody have a question that they want to ask the panelists, please put it in the chat or raise your hand so that we can go ahead and answer those questions for you. So let us know if you have a question if you're in the audience. Okay, Ash, go ahead and take yourself off of mute.
All right, so I wanted to know, I don't know if I heard anyone say this already, but I wanted to know if anybody has given birth outside of the country and what was your experience, or if you have even thought about it.
Okay. Farah.
So I haven't given birth myself outside the country, but I do have clients outside of the country. I have a client right now in Honduras, and I had a client that was in the Philippines. So are you looking for the experience itself or how they maneuver through that process?
Yeah, just the experience because I always follow women's journeys outside of the States.
because I know every country is very different in how they treat mothers. I've been a doula for about 3 years myself, so I've been in the hospital and I know how brutal it can be for moms. And I love to hear about women's experiences overseas or just in non-westernized countries because they seem like they just have so much more support. I usually hear about like a spiritual experience or anything. So yeah, just their experience.
Yeah.
Would love to hear about that.
So two different experiences. They both gave birth at home. My client in the Philippines, it was her second birth. And so she had all of her family, meaning her grandmother, her mother, all women. So everyone in her family, they take time out. So when someone gets pregnant, it's just traditional that they take care of them. They also bring in adas, which is like nannies, that will cook and clean for them. So they have them for months upon months. My client had her support up to 1 year. So when we were talking, her baby was breached. So we did a lot of movement and things of that nature, and her family was 100% on board. So all the things that we talked about, everyone showed up. So when we had our virtual calls, everyone was there. And so that was beautiful. Now, my client that is in Honduras now, her baby is due in July. She is from Honduras. She is in the States, but she's going to give birth in Honduras. And the reason why she's going to give birth is because she wants to be able to do it her way. And so she wants to be outside. She wants to be where she comes from. And so her journey, I'm excited to even see it. Myself, we do a lot of virtual conversations as she's there, and her friends show up. So she has 4 girlfriends that she grew up with, and their stories are simply amazing. 2 of them, they crossed the border by themselves when they were 19 years old. So they've been together. So they're like sisters. So they will all be there with her, and she will be outside. So I'm excited to see what that looks like, what that feels like for her. But she's already heading out to prepare for that moment. So yeah, it's really as a doula, but not even as just a doula, but as a woman, when I hear these families, when I see these families come together and the support that they give, they're not worried about taking time off. They're not worried about, is it going to cost or what's going to happen? They just show up. And so for me, it's been rewarding and healing for myself. So, yeah.
That is beautiful. Ash, that was a wonderful question. And I am so thankful for the response of Farrah's experience, because now I'm curious of what that looks like for myself. So that is beautiful. Yes. Brianna, yes, ma'am.
I was gonna say too, you can incorporate some of that feeling and that support with having a home birth, like, within the country. Obviously it's hard. My sons are now 4 and 3. I just now finally got everything together to get their documents. So it does get trickier. But what I will say is, like, that community, like that's a feeling like no other. That is why I could never go back to birthing personally in a traditional space, which is crazy because I'm going into medicine, right? But I know that my long-term goal is to talk to more women about what their options are and what that can look like, and supporting them through their pregnancy so that they can have more confidence in doing something like a home birth. So I was very lucky to have a midwife who also was a doula outside of her practice. So she knew I was doing a home birth. She tended to me along the way. She was so amazing, made sure I had everything that I needed to, but was so supportive of me when I did go ahead and have that home birth. So I got to have my mom there, my aunt there, my sister there, my babies were there. And that to me was the most important, because like now they don't associate labor and birth with like something fearful. I know, like, my last birth, my oldest, she slept through it. She was like, "Mama, why you ain't wake me up?" I'm like, "I'm so sorry." And she still yells at me about that to this day. So there really is just something so beautiful about going through what I'm going through, and then my aunt is in the kitchen cooking beans for me so that I can eat them, because they're nice and warm. Or, because I did an unassisted birth, their father caught them. So he just was locked in and he was ready and showing up in that moment. That is such a beautiful feeling. My cousin was there. She was joking a little too much at times, but it's things like that. And to speak to what Melissa was saying, oh, hypnotherapy was the way, it's essentially how I got through it. So just having that community, that feeling is just so amazing. That space, you don't have bright lights around you. It's just such a beautiful thing for real. So yeah, please know that you can also, there's so much beauty in home birth, period. And if you have the right people, and it might not even be family, it'll be your friends. Maybe you'll find a community that'll show up for you. But it's possible. It's possible, and you are all capable of it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for that input, that you can do it here in the States as well. Thank you for that. Anybody else had a question? Let me check the chat to see if I missed anything. Okay. All right. I think that was all of the questions. Well, again, I want to thank you, ladies. This was nothing but amazing. You gave everybody so many practical and so many things to think about as they go home and prepare for birth. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful as a person family planning now. I am thankful for you guys' time and the information that you have provided for us. If everyone can please, and we'll start with Melissa since her hand is up, but if everyone can please just let us know how we can stay in contact with you, that would be beautiful. And let's start with Melissa.
Yes, thank you, Anna. And I just wanted to start by, can you hear me?
You cutting out again.
Can you hear me?
Okay, you cut out a little bit, but go ahead. We hear you now. Hello, can you hear us?
I'll let someone else have a turn
Okay.
while I retry.
We can hear you. Oh, okay. Let's go ahead with Samantha. I see you first.
Yeah, this is great. So thankful to have been here and just learning from y'all. And I think just being in a space with other women, some of the things that y'all shared it was healing for me. Even just Farrah Grace sharing more about just like the experience that some of her clients have out of the country. So I appreciate that. You can stay connected with me on, I don't know if links will be sent out. I think it'll be sent out via email. But my information is in there for YouTube, for Instagram. I also have a coaching program where I work with clients either one-on-one or in group settings. So if you are someone that is seeking to work with a faith-based coach around feminine embodiment and just healing from trauma and regulating your nervous system, and just really living more in a place of mind-body connection, then I would love to talk to you and support you in that way. I offer doula services more so in person. We're moving to Washington State, but I have worked with clients virtually who just need support more in the prenatal phase. So if that's something that you're interested in as well, then definitely be on the lookout for the email with more information and links.
So this is going to go on YouTube, so people won't have access to that. So if you can just give us your website information or your Instagram information, they can then go and search for all the other information.
Yeah, so Instagram probably the easiest is I am Samantha Jones _. And then I guess YouTube as well as Samantha.Jones. But I would say you could just reach out to me on Instagram and just shoot me a DM. That's how a lot of people get in contact. So again, it's I am Samantha Jones _.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. And then Melissa, come back on.
Real quick, I wanted to clarify, there will be a separate email sent out that will have a resource guide, and each of our panelists' information will be on there, as well as resources that they have shared either on this panel or outside of it. But also, yes, to Key's point, we'll also have this on YouTube for everyone to go back for the recording.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you both. I just wanted to start by thanking Kiana and Marquis for putting this together and holding space for all of us. This was such a wonderful event, really well planned and everything from start to finish. So I just want to give you your flowers and say thank you so much, as well to all of the other panelists, all the other women that heard from today. It was so inspiring. And like I said in the beginning, I just feel really honored and such a privilege to hear from everyone, hear your all unique perspectives. So I thank you so much for that. And I'm so glad to hear that that resource guide is going to be sent out, because I would love to stay connected with all you on social media and continue to follow along your journey and learn from you all. So I definitely will be shooting everyone a follow after this so we can stay connected. Instagram, I think, is my primary social media. But as I mentioned in the beginning of the call, I'm also working on launching my social media marketing business. So if you are a small business or you know of other small businesses that need digital marketing or social media support or branding or strategy, anything like that, I'm so happy to help. And just want to really, again, say thank you so much. And I had a great time today.
Yes. Can you give us your Instagram handle, please?
Yes, it is Melly D, Melly period DEE. I'll drop it here in the chat for you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Bree.
I was just gonna ask if I could speak, just because I have to go to the babies downstairs. Okay, cool. Well, you can find me on Instagram. My handle is Muva, MUVA _ because I'm not a regular mom, I'm a mother. But no, it was so great to hear from you all. It was so great to just be on this call. Like I said, I wasn't even feeling it this morning. I didn't know what I'd be able to contribute. But I feel like my purpose really was just to absorb. This was very healing. It was such a reminder of how powerful it is when women come together, especially women of color, women with different backgrounds, women who don't just have it, a cookie cutter walk through this thing. I told y'all motherhood is such a rewarding hood, but it's also a ghetto one at times. Mm-hmm. So being able to sit in this space and talk to y'all and hear things was so assuring. So I am primarily though on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I like to share just what a woman existing and taking up space looks like. So whoever I am today and whoever I am tomorrow is what y'all will see. What I'm gonna be next year, I don't know yet. God knows. Y'all will see that too. So feel free to reach out to me, email me, because it's gonna be on that Instagram, and keep up with me however you see fit. I am more than open to talking to any and everybody, answering questions. I'm an open book because that's what God called me here to do. My trials and tribulations are to be able to help somebody else through there. So there is nothing that's too invasive. This is my calling. I'm just here to minister and be as transparent as I can with you guys. So thank you for allowing me that and for listening to me today. I love everybody because y'all love yourselves and y'all showed up for women. So bye.
Absolutely. Bye. Love you. And thank you again. All right. And then we have Kiara.
Yeah, thank you for hosting this event. It was great. I felt like it was very, like Bree said, it was very healing. I feel seen by all the other mothers here and all the panelists. I relate to a lot of what everyone was saying, and I agree with what everyone was saying. So this was definitely a safe space, a collaborative space, and I'm excited for the future of Bus Ventures, for how you guys build community. I love you guys' branding, the message, and I'm excited to see where you guys take this. But as for me, you can find me mainly on Instagram. I'm going to send in the chat my Instagram. It's at Kiara the Virgo. My email's in there and my business website. I'm currently starting an event, a pop-up business where it's supposed to be immersive music listening experiences. And so, yeah, I'll be hosting my first event towards the end of the summer. It'll be Kali Uchis and Kalila themed. And yeah, I'm very excited for that. But yeah, thank you ladies for having me today, allowing me to speak and share my story a little bit. This was great.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Kiara, for showing up. And thank you for giving us that information. And then we have, I think, Farah, that we didn't get to you yet, right?
Yes, so I am Farah. You can find me on Instagram. I am a dose of Mother Earth. I will put it in the chat. I also have a link tree. My website is being built. But yes, it was such a beautiful experience. I love, love, love being in community. But for Kiana and Key, what a beautiful way to lay the foundation for motherhood when you're not even a mother. That is amazing to look, outside of the box and prepare yourself. So I really, really, I'm just in awe. So thank you so much. Also, I know I might have mentioned this to Key, but if anyone wants to, that was on the panel or participants would like to do an intentional embodiment yoga session, I would be willing to do a free 30-minute session for anyone who would like to participate. You could reach out to me on Instagram, or I do have a link. So I look forward to connecting with you, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that resource. And yeah, as we wrap up, I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic to Marquis, and she's going to allow the audience to know what they should expect from us. And thank you so much for the time. Oh, also, you can find me personally on Instagram at more_than beauty.
Beautiful. Yes, thank you so much, ladies. And thank you so much, Farah, for that amazing resource. We will definitely, it's included in our resource guide. So if that's something that you all are interested in, and thank you so much for offering your time, your resources, your education to our community. It's so imperative, and that's really what community looks like in real time. I thank each and every one of you all for showing up today for yourselves, as well as others in community. Really quickly, just want to let you all know what to expect. Emails going out with the resource guide, as well as a survey. Please let us know feedback, things that could have gone better, things that you look forward to for the future, any other panels of things that we talked about a lot today. So if there are other conversations that we feel like, should be a deeper dive, or, future themes for the future, this is our second annual. We hope, and pray that this can something that we continue to be consistent with. And so any feedback from at all, but we're also open to other virtual panels to connect with people and in person in the future. Also, just to let our community and everyone else know what's coming up for Blessed Ventures, we have our upcoming retreat in Costa Rica. And so we do have 2 slots left open. So if anyone is interested, you are more than welcome to go ahead and submit an application, and then we'll reach out to you with that. As well as we are working on putting out some more retreats for the following year. So be on the lookout for that if that's something that you're interested. Very intimate, safe space, transparency, authentic through nature, adventure, and community is what we strive for. And this is what you can see in that. Also, a special offer that we as Blessed Ventures are offering to everyone on this panel is 20% off a curated retreat. So we also do personalized retreats for people. Like, so if you're like, I want to go out, and do something with my community, my family, my cousins, my girls, my family. We also offer those services, and that will also be linked as well. And you can book a consultation with us for us to go through that. We're offering that for everyone that attended this panel here today. And so, yes, we are so very excited. We have a few upcoming events, specifically in Atlanta. We have a monthly hiking series that we do to connect with people. It's called Nature's Conversations. And so we go in nature and we have conversations with our community. Our next one is next Saturday, May 10th. And then just continue to follow us, subscribe to our newsletter to be able to know about other upcoming events, both virtually and in person. I feel like it goes without saying, and we cannot say enough how much we appreciate you all for coming, sharing your story, sharing your testimony, sharing the knowledge, your experiences, and the education that you have acquired over this time. The reason that we saw that there was a need for this is because as people who are not mothers yet, I felt like, what do I do? What would I do? And when I see a mother, I'm always like superwoman. Like, and I know, like, not to put that on there, like, you know, you're not going to have things, but I'm like, even if for that day, all you did was slept that day, you're still superwoman. To be responsible for someone else's well-being, someone's, to be for a whole nother human is just like mind boggling to me. I admire women and motherhood and, you know, being responsible for that human being so very much. And that's what called us to create this space. So I thank every one of you panelists and attendees for creating this space. So yeah, that is wrapped up for us. Appreciate you all. Be on the lookout for the email after this. And we love to stay connected with you all. I'm sure everyone is following us, but if not, we are blessed _ventures. Please subscribe to our newsletter and just stay up to date with things we have coming up. We love you all. Thank you. Everyone have a wonderful rest of your weekend.
Yes, love y'all. See y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
All right, perfecto.
Beautiful.
Hey,
And
I was just gonna jump in
you see him.
Girl, growing and flowing.
Growing and flowing,
Girl,
girl.
you're kicking the whole time.
I know. You like, that's good. Take care of my mom.
Right.
Okay, glowing over there. I love to see it. Yes.
Girl, at that time. Getting there.
Okay. What do you do?
July 4th.
But if
July
you want to come a little late,
July. Yeah, she so sick.
Talk about a little late. That's a lot of late.
Thank you.
Like,
Girl,
little late.
we fashionably late to the party.
Lord.
I
I think she about ready. What'd you say?
I was gonna have my doctor looking at me like, girl.
Okay, like who's trying to be doing that? Nobody.
she like, baby, please go.
Okay.
He can meet me
Okay,
in the
summer
middle.
babies. Okay, summer. Okay.
Yes.
Well, is it still in the cancer? Is that still cancer?
Mm-hmm.
Lord, today.
So
yeah,
if
I'm
he
doing
is
my
on
mama's birthday.
I'm gonna get you some earbuds. What they call them? All that crying.
Oh yeah. Oh, he gonna be like my first thing, but no, they were celebrating him coming in. He said, "Them's for me."
Yeah, no. Because even my mom was like, I do not like them.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
Mm-mm.
It ain't as bad as out here though than back home, girl. You know they get to doing the guns and stuff too back home. But
And it's dry out here.
Wait, I didn't even think about the 4th of July. That wasn't even a
What
thought.
you was talking about?
she's talking about y'all being cry baby.
Yeah, I
Girl
was talking
bad.
about the crybaby. I was just talking about
Girl
because y'all cry.
bad. I know you
think
ain't
about the 4th
talking
of
to
July.
Scorpio, and I just tapped into my crying.
See,
Hey,
you gonna cry in the closet. And
No,
be like, I didn't
Scorpios
cry.
cry angrily and
Right.
loudly. It ain't till at least my tears are silent. You gonna be, I don't want to do that, girl. Bad.
Whatever.
Right, exactly.
I
still
am
crying.
just tapping into expressing my emotions. Otherwise, y'all wouldn't know a thing.
Amen.
No, it's always on the face. We would know it.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Well, I'm glad y'all having a good time. Y'all got everything.
Oh, not you cutting out. Right.
Don't do us like that.
Oh, we was cutting out for a minute. You back?
Oh, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I said, what y'all end up doing for the nesting party? What y'all do? You put the clothes together?
Girl, they organized all his clothes and stuff for me. Girl, helped me build the crib, his little bedside bassinet, changing table. Girl, I just sat there and ate. And
She was kikiing. She was kikiing.
That's how you supposed to do it. Okay. That's how you supposed to
Every
do
once in a while,
it.
she talk about what you want me to girl sit down.
Right, where she's like, girl, bye. I could do something.
That's how you do it. You drink your tea and give directions. Yeah, that's
what she was
over
doing.
there.
She was like, "Yeah, you could put that over there. That could go on a hanger." I'm like, "I love it."
Yes.
We love to see
so
it.
relieving though. I think every mom needs that because I was like, y'all just made all my mommy like worries be gone.
Yeah.
I'm like, I gotta start building this stuff. Like this last 2 months, I just want to just focus on let him continue to grow and chill out and get mentally, just in the space of being a mom.
Yeah. So I guess did the panel list
Oh gosh, yes.
Yes.
They were saying a lot of stuff that I already been implementing. So it just make me feel like, You doing good.
Yes. Yes, that's beautiful. Now,
Yes.
I'm curious. You doing it? When they started to end everything, and we was talking about what we can do for next year. The first thought came in my mind was Taryn. I heard because somebody said something. I don't know who I was talking
girl.
to.
Yep. We should have said something about that. But yes, girl. So raspberry leaf tea, okra water, and then my doctor actually like does perennial like massages. So that's actually going to start in about like 2 to 3 weeks. So she'll actually like massage the area. So yeah, she either do it, or she said it's actually a tool that you can do it for yourself. So or your partner can do it.
I'm about to say, is that
I'm very much so touching.
I'm like, is that going to give you contractions early?
No, it's not. It's not like it's not stimulating.
Hold on, we're gonna take a picture. This sun is burning us.
Oh yeah, y'all
is
in
but I think
Vegas.
my phone died, so we just gonna yeah, girl. It's okay. I can live my best life. Girl, why did you lift this stuff? You just got on my nerves. Right. I'm just like, what did you do? But here, I'm gonna fix out here, but feel free.
Okay.
Oh, you want to sleep? Okay. Go ahead, baby. Look, I'm gonna fix the outside. Her mama sleep. Let's go to the better room. I'm waiting for the oops. Yeah. All right. You got your that Vegas sun was
Okay. Good again. But to finish your question, it's not stimulating. Like I ain't gonna sit here. It don't hurt, but it don't feel good. Like
Okay. Because I sure was wondering, like, what we doing?
girl, I'm like, I don't want
down there. I don't know what's happening.
girl, no facts. But it's just that piece of skin that right between that they were massaging basically. It's kind of pre-stretching it, but that okra water is really what helps a lot. And raspberry leaf, because it basically like lubricates up the baby.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of like, I have a birthing coach that I followed, but she was just saying like during that ring of fire, what a lot of moms do is they want to get through it because it's that burning feeling, like like when you stretch and you feel that burn in your hamstrings. That's what you're feeling down there. So nobody like that. That's why you be like, hurry up with this stretch. So a lot of moms just hurry up and they're like, oh no. And that's how they tear. So she was just saying, like, when you feel the contractions is when you push. She's like, in between, think of like, she call them birthday candle like breaths. So you're like breathing. Then when you feel a contraction, push a little bit. So it's basically not rushing through that ring of fire. That's another way to not tear.
Yeah.
So
I think our next. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm listening.
I was going to say, I think a lot of times, a lot of these doctors are like trying to like chop. So that's why I'm like, for me and my birth, I'm like minimum coaching. I mean, I've been doing my own like preparation for coaching. I don't want to be rushed. I don't need you in my ear telling me to push when I know damn well I'm not having a contraction. Like, no, you're not gonna tell me to do that. Now you can finna charge me to stitch me up too.
Yeah, no, I think that's so good. I think that's definitely, I think our next panel, we should talk about the technical parts of like giving birth.
That's been the ultimate thing that's kind of like, okay, I know I gotta give birth, but let's talk about like the untalkabouts. I don't tell you to after the fact, like, because it can't make you be like, I don't know. I don't know. You finna do that? No, you know what I'm saying? But when you learn that there's ways to avoid those things, is reassuring. You know what I'm saying? But you got to put the work in. So.
Y'all look like two middle schoolers on the
I'm on
They call it
Skype.
On Skype.
On
The girl, not taking me back.
Oh, this is so cute. Hold on, let me take a picture.
They're back. Oh no, we lost her. I'm like, oh, look at the pictures. Oh, there she back. Oh,
Wait, why I do that? I was trying to take a screenshot. It don't let you do screenshot.
I just did. Maybe you clicked the wrong button.
Okay, do it again. Do it again. Cheese. Okay.
I love it.
That is beautiful.
Yeah,
Well, what y'all got
tell 'em.
planned for today?
We supposed to go to the pool, girl, because I be doing that a lot now, girl. That's why y'all talking about like being in water and just being reconnected. We're supposed to do a walk too, because I be doing those lately. They really do help. They ain't never lied. Like they really do.
I know. I was gonna mention about. I was like, do we gotta wait till get a little? Or I know we were sitting in the sun, but I know Vegas.
Girl,
like,
you know what?
That's
That's why I love May, because it's like just right.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool. Yeah. But last night was beautiful.
It really
that's
was
nice.
Yeah, but yeah, we can do that whenever. But that's why I've been like Googling and finding like all these parks. I didn't know we had so many nice parks, like got little ponds and stuff, and like one got like walking peacocks all over the place. Like I'm like, okay,
Wow.
Yes, girl. So I'm like implementing those when he get here, because I got like this 3-in-1 stroller. So I'm like, we gonna go outside.
I'm so happy for you. Motherhood looks good on you already. Okay, I am so happy.
She's always been a mama, and even yesterday at the I heard nesting, there was a little baby girl there. It like the whole time, like, even though she was kiki with us, really baby, she was in full Bobby mode. She was talking to her, she was doing everything, and I was like, she's just so patient. I can't wait for Kai. He just got such a patient, loving mom.
So excited.
My mama was doing stuff. I'm like, baby, don't distract her.
Don't distract your mama.
Yeah. So what? Okay. So what have you been doing? So I know you said the swimming you have been doing for yourself. What else have you been doing for yourself during this time?
Resting, because my mama don't let me do nothing. Girl, she be cooking. Nana be doing everything. I really, honestly, that the village is important. I'm beyond blessed to have the family I have, because like just normal stuff that women be dealing with, I just don't. So it's been a real easy breezy just pregnancy. Like I just haven't had a lot of stress. I just been able to chill. Mom was like, you're not working, and she's like, I really don't want you to. You can have a whole year if you want to not. So we need like one. So you go back to work then. She's like, but I think you should just enjoy being a mom for the first time and just focus on him,
baby.
Like, oh. So
We
like,
love it.
So I'm just able to really focus on being a mom, and I'm just beyond blessed, because they just like, you took too long. I'm like, okay.
Hilarious. Not you took too long.
But see, that's the blessing in waiting, though. I think people gotta realize, like, when you actually like wait and you see like your loved ones, like, when, that's when I'm like, okay, when,
Girl,
and when I do,
like,
you need to be there.
Absolutely. I'm so happy for you, for real, genuinely.
Girl.
Yes. Well, I'm not gonna hold you. I'm about to get in these people's streets.
Girl.
Yeah, I'm about to get in these folks' streets, but I love y'all. I hope you continue to have a good time.
You over there glowing, talking about me.
Okay.
Girl, it's just grease.
Girl.
But be
Period.
safe.
Yes,
Get
be
that
safe.
money, girl.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, y'all, talk to y'all soon.
All right, love you too.
Bye.
I think get these people's streets.
I'm always in these people's streets. Picking them up and dropping them off. Okay. Your video is being recorded.
Big old belly.
He said, come on, Titi. I know, not my baby.
I'm still laughing at stuff. He's like, how's she gonna be the tea? I'm gonna be nothing.
Wait.
Not.
Your stuff is being recorded. How do I stop recording? I ain't never used it.
I love that. We just recording.
Manage recorded. I know. I'm like, but they don't tell me how to stop. Do I just end it? But I don't want to risk losing it. Tell me something. Manage recording. Also stop transcribing. Recording will be saved. When appropriate, a link will be added and a notification email will be sent. Oh, okay, perfect. So I can just hang up. Beautiful.